Well, I can't hear any music, so I'm just gonna go. So, hey, folks, how you doing? Our technical world is kind of happening. I haven't heard the music. I just finally heard the music. I'm getting into it, so that's good. I got my new old shirt on with a collar. So we're trying to, not look like the T-shirt guy again. So anyway, here we are. We're in the beautiful off night. We're going to have some interesting discussions for you tonight. You guys stick around. Make sure you get your popcorn. Make sure you get everything and just hang around and have a few beers with us. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not promoting beer. Anyway, so please welcome for our off night, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
Hey. The man with the goodies.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Pretty good. As you can see, I'm going another week with the full Charlton Heston here.
That was it, yeah.
I
did talk about I did talk about Duke Cannon last week, did I?
I think you did, yeah.
All right. Should get that here because that'll take that bar of soap will take the curl right out of it, Just flattens it out.
Do I want the curl out of it? I don't mind having the wave.
Okay.
To tell you the truth, if you take off from here down, just look from there up here. Let me see if I come on, get it right there. That's my mom right there. That is.
There you go. All right. Cool.
Anyway,
what's your mom?
My hair.
Oh yeah. Well, if you do this same thing, this is my uncle's hair. It's like,
oh, is that your uncle's hair?
My uncle's hair. Yeah. I skipped my dad's hair because I actually have hair left. So.
All right. I got to.
I guess we're advertising Nationals ball game.
I am. You're taking over here for a while. I got to get my wife a car key. Hold on. So wing it.
Well, okay, I can take over and talk for a while. I have no control over this stuff, but gosh darn, guys. Hey, how about the draft, huh? That was really good. Now, if I could pronounce the names, that would be even better. But I feel very excited that we got a great defense, and they're also very large defense. I mean, we actually got guys that can stack up, and they can actually create an entire wall, one's a really good. Oh, he's back.
Well, okay. I like our first round pick because what is he, 6'6", 300 pounds, but he still runs the 40 in whatever.
Exactly. He's also 330 pounds. And he can run the 6.
Yeah. Well, it's you know what? I saw the highlight films too, and you know what? Let's get Kathy and Sam in here,
sure.
Just because they're pretty knowledgeable about football.
Yeah, make sure I try to get some of the names in. I just can't. I cannot.
We don't just want to talk about the Lions. We got a nameless football team, which I love. I love having a nameless football team. So here's our friend from Grosse Pointe. Although, you know what? She's not really Grosse Pointy. She doesn't have that Grosse Pointy air about her. She's very. Yeah, she's a journalist. Kathy Ryan, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome, Kathy
Ryan. Nice to see you again.
All right.
That's the nicest thing you could have said to me, that I'm not Grosse Pointy.
Grosse Pointy. I tell you what, we'll get all our guests here, and then I'll tell my Grosse Pointe stories. Also joining us, as he has for about the last 30 weeks, is one of my favorite radio personalities, and I like him because he's done right-wing radio. He's done left-wing radio. He's probably done some print journalism. I don't know. He's a man. He's a man in the know. He is. If I'm going to have a trivia contest at a bar, this man is on my team. It's not about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back, Sam Greenfield.
Hi, everybody.
There he is. Anyway, so we're talking about the draft, and I want to get you guys in. I liked the Lions draft for the first time in about 20 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I am very serious about
that out there. That's really true. 20 years.
Wow. Well, 20 years would be 2001. Yeah. I mean, we haven't had a playoff win since 1991. So 30 years.
92, I think.
All right, 92. Whatever. It was when Wayne Fonts was our coach. Who knew? Based on the coaches we've had since him, he'd make the Hall of Fame around here.
Yeah, really.
Likely. Yeah.
Yeah, we hated him. We hated him when he couldn't get when he couldn't get past the Redskins to get to the Super Bowl. But since then we've seen a lot worse.
Yeah, man. Whoa.
Anyway, the Redskins had 3 coaches, and this is no kidding. I think they had 3 coaches in like a day. Okay, they fired Schottenheimer, and they put in a guy, a defensive coach, Terry Robisky.
Are you
And
talking
then
about the Browns or the Colts?
no, the Redskins.
Redskin. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and and then they put in some other guy, and just one bad coach after another. The guy who was a quarterback for Steve Largent in Seattle. I can't remember his name, but he was their coach once, and he hated Snyder so much. I can't remember the guy's name now. Begins with a K, I think. Jim something. I can't remember, but he hated Snyder so much that he started putting in crappy plays to get fired.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's
I had a guy in a band like that. He hated working with us so much. When we performed, he would play off key
Oh, jeez.
to get fired.
Wow.
And we
Yeah,
fired,
please fire me.
Yeah. What was it? Begins with a K. I cannot remember. He was Largent's quarterback.
Steve
Good
Largent.
quarterback,
Oh,
too.
when Steve Largent was breaking all those records as a receiver.
Yes. If I look it up, I'm going to lose you guys, but I can't.
Well, no, I'll look it up. Relax. I got it here.
You know, when you say, Sam, where did you go? That's where I go.
Oh,
God.
Right, Largent's quarterback in Seattle. Yeah, Largent had Hall of Fame record. Oh, Jim Zorn. I remember Jim Zorn. Yeah.
I'm sorry, K. Yeah, he became the coach, and he sucked. And they've just had a lot of, but Rivera seems to be the real deal. He seems to know what he's doing. They won the division. I mean, with a terrible record, but they won the division. And the only thing that makes me happier is that the Knicks are like 9 games over 500. Thibodeau's got to be the coach of the year. God, I mean, they were a joke for the last 5 years, and he's got them in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. They're like the 4th seed.
Well, your team in 7 rounds got 10 picks. Well played.
Yes.
Now, what were you giving up to get all that?
Well, Snyder doesn't have a child anymore. I don't know how much they gave up. They had a lot of good. Washington had a lot of really good young linebackers, and there wasn't enough room in the inn for them. So I think they were more than willing to part company with some of them. But beyond that, I mean, what they need, although maybe, I mean, I'm sure Rivera knows more than me, but about football. But what it seems to me they need a quarterback. They just signed. They signed Kirkpatrick.
But didn't the guy that spent all that time recovering, didn't he just retire? Remember we talked about him a few weeks ago.
He retired, and he Alex Smith.
Yeah, that was it.
Very classy guy. He just felt like he talked about this. I mean, he almost lost that leg. That leg almost fell off. I mean,
I was going to say, he's the guy that almost shattered his leg, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, I mean, it literally almost fell off.
Yeah.
And so for him to come back and during when he played last year, they were 5-1.
Wow.
But he said that I just think he was scared.
Oh,
I just think.
Wouldn't you be? Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, you would be. But
I cut myself today. I called 911. I just think he was scared, and he said a lot of things about the Redskins, not necessarily negative. I don't think of them as negative. I think of them as honest. He said he felt they were patronizing to him.
Yeah.
I
get that.
And he understood that, but it didn't make him comfortable. I just think he just seems to be a really decent guy, and all the other quarterbacks in the league have so much respect for him as a man, not just as an athlete.
Yeah.
So I wish him all the best. And remember, he got screwed He got screwed in San Francisco when they replaced him with Kaepernick.
Yep.
And now neither of them are playing.
Yeah.
You know, I would pick up Kaepernick in a heartbeat. But Dan Snyder makes me very proud. A Jewish guy who backs Trump. I couldn't be happier. Jesus. God, and Frank's alter ego. So. But when I look at the draft, with very few exceptions, maybe this kid from Clemson, the quarterback, with very few exceptions, we don't know how they're going to do. We have no idea. That kid who played in San Diego, or the guy who was in Indianapolis and had a gambling habit that he couldn't shake.
Yeah.
Drew Bledsoe is a great quarterback. He gets injured. Tom Brady comes in, and it's Lou Gehrig. He get injured, and this guy,
Lou Gehrig.
You really don't know. Injuries, a bad attitude, you just, bad work habits.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of these guys think, well, I'm in the
But
pros
you gotta
now. I don't have to
this
work
is the
out.
only time we have any sort of optimism.
Yeah.
This is the only time we have any sort of optimism in Detroit.
In May.
This is it. This is the only time we're excited.
I heard one. I heard one. I'm going to have to look this up to see if it's true, but I heard this on a sports radio station. The school that has the most quarterbacks starting in the NFL, there's 3. I can tell you how many there are. All 3 of them made the playoffs last year. What's the school?
Stanford. No?
Are we talking about high school?
No, we're talking about college. Which college has the most quarterbacks starting in the NFL?
Was it one of the military academies?
No.
No, because those guys have to wait 5 years.
Well, no, they're releasing them now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why I heard that story, and that's why I thought, I wonder. Yeah.
It's not Michigan, is it?
Nope.
Can't be Michigan.
Very close.
Ohio State?
Nope. I'm not going to go on any. What's that?
Michigan State?
It's Michigan State.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
I'm looking them up right now. Right. When I heard that, I thought that's a pretty nice little. And the guy that coached them all is the guy they let go last year.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Kirk Cousins.
Minnesota.
Remember Cousins? Yep.
Is Brian Hoyer still
playing? Kissing Cousins.
Yeah. Let me see if this guy's still playing.
Kirk was a Redskin for a while.
Yes, he was. Let's see if he's still playing here. Looks like Brian Hoyer is currently with the Colts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not starting, but
he's not starting, but he's not starting, but he's on the team, and they made it into the playoffs. And it looks like, let me see what we got.
There's a guy before Cousins.
Yeah, Drew Stanton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is with the Cleveland Browns again, not starting, but
there.
That's 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
How did Harbaugh get a contract extension?
Good question.
I think there was you know what it was? It was just that they have, in the last 20 years, they picked 3 bad coaches. They did, and it's like they just didn't want to go through another. As
a rule, they do this. That's very funny.
I understand that theory. I do, but he's been there for, somebody help me here, 7 years, 8.
No, I think about 4 years.
No, it can't be 4. No,
about 4 years. Because before him was another guy.
He's been there more than 4 years.
No, he's been there longer than 4 years, Andy. Oh no.
All right, got to look that up, man. I'm pretty sure it was only 4 years,
Well,
but
one of you do it because I like broadcasting.
Well, I also heard that one of the reasons too was because during COVID, it would have been impossible to interview anybody and bring them in for the usual interview process.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that it was just easier to keep them on for another year. And
am I right about this? He's never beaten Ohio State.
He has never beaten Ohio State.
You're right about that. Yep.
See,
he also had a bad run with Michigan State, I think, until recently.
I think so too. Yeah, he lost to Michigan State too.
He never wins the big games. That should be enough to fire him.
Well, you'd think, but
he won at they won at Michigan this year, didn't they? Or didn't at Michigan State rather? Didn't they win at Michigan State this year?
I think they did. I think they did. Yeah.
But he never beats Ohio State. That's like, well, they don't do this in Army and Navy. They don't fire the guy. But it's like USC and UCLA when they were both powerhouses. You got to beat them once in a while.
Yeah.
Florida State. You got to beat them once in a while.
Yeah, and Ohio State was a whole other beast. It still is.
Ohio State should really be playing in the SEC. They should be playing with Alabama.
They should be playing in the NFL.
That too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's now it's to the point where they can identify these players in high school, and they know, especially Alabama. Alabama knows which players are going to stay 1 year, which players are going to stay 2 years, and so they recruit for that. In other words, they can go to a player. They can go to a player. They say, I know our freshman linebacker is All-American, and the NFL is drooling. But you think he's going to stay another year? And so then they can recruit the next guy who's going to come in and do the same thing. They just have certain positions. Look at how look at how they expect all those schools in the SEC. Their quarterback leaves, and their next quarterback puts up the numbers that the last guy did. I mean, it's not like the guy was that great. I think the system is that great.
It's a system.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at, let's use Alabama again. If you look at them, I could be wrong about this, but I can't think of an Alabama quarterback who's dominant in the NFL. And
Joe Namath, that's the last one.
Well, right, and he's 104.
Yeah, exactly.
But they win national championships.
Yeah.
So it's the system.
Well, I think Michigan.
Can I throw this in? Harbaugh's been at Michigan since 2015.
So 6 years.
Yeah.
So this will be a 7th year?
This will be a 7th year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So screw you, Andy.
Hey, I was only off by 2 years. Come on.
Yeah.
At this point,
I missed that cliff by 2 inches.
There we go.
Now, with all these years of not beating Ohio State, and did any of his predecessors beat Ohio State? Did Rodriguez beat Ohio State, or who's the other?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. This is about the time where we have to start extolling the degrees and the grades of the graduates, how well the graduates are doing. we have to start talking about how, just how well they do academically. Because we're not going to beat them.
The great coach for Michigan,
Bo Schembechler.
Yeah. Do you think he could coach now?
No.
Well, I don't know if he could. If he had the ability to get the players to play his system, I still think there's something about that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That strong running back, strong front line. You never had a good passing quarterback out of Michigan. Probably Tom Brady ended that whole thing. Tom Brady ended the whole,
3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yeah.
3 yards in a cloud of dust. Yeah. And so I think Schembechler would just have. I think he'd have a hard time recruiting. I just don't think
that's where it begins and ends.
Yeah.
He would have a hard time recruiting.
Well, Harbaugh's a horrible recruiter. I mean, just because he takes his team to Europe and Australia, and it's a big freaking party to play for U of M, but they don't put anything
to the Vatican.
Oh yeah, they went to the Vatican.
Yeah.
So
the Vatican.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I wonder how Jamal Clark liked being in the Vatican.
Has anybody seen that?
He enjoyed the Western Wall much more.
Exactly.
Has anybody seen that documentary series? It's called Last Chance U, and it was Mark Ridley's son who did it, and it's about this little college, junior college actually, down in Mississippi.
Yep.
That takes in all these college athletes that have been thrown off their team either for academic, and you've got to really work to not make academic, standards at some of these schools.
I mean, you
academics, criminal activity,
and criminal activity. Yeah,
you got to walk in backwards. I mean, that's,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a little college down in Scuba, Mississippi. It was a fascinating show. I think it went on to other seasons too. But
there was you just remind me of something, Kathy. This is off the subject, but there is a documentary on Netflix about, I can't remember the name of it. My wife introduced me to it, about remember the Dana Carvey show?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a documentary about that show.
Have you seen
it? It had Colbert. It had Colbert.
Uh-huh.
It had what's his name? Damn it, Carell.
Yep.
Louis C.K. was one of the writers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you seen
it was a disaster.
Have you seen the documentary?
Yes. That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah.
Sam, there is a scene in there. There is a scene in there that will make you howl when they put him up after they were trying to move it around to figure out if it would take anywhere. So they put him up after Tim Allen's show, Home Improvement.
Uh-huh.
And the ad they ran as sort of watch these two because they're back to back now. The ad they ran for that is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I mean, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. It's so funny.
If only the show had been, was it intentionally funny?
No,
no. I mean the ad.
No, the ad was not intentionally funny, but when the way they edited this documentary and the way they presented this, you kind of got what their problems were, and it's the Too Good to Fail, I think was the name of the documentary.
Yes, yeah, or Too Funny to Fail. One of
Too
the other.
Funny to Fail, and they did some funny stuff, but the funniest thing in the documentary was when they ran an ad on ABC trying to sell it after the Tim Allen show. You will bust again. So, have you seen it, Andy?
I've seen the show. Yeah, I just can't remember what the ad was, but I've seen the documentary.
Oh my God, it's one of the funniest things. I get tears just thinking about it. It was so funny.
Yeah, I think the thing is there wasn't anybody to say no there.
Right.
There wasn't anybody to say no or edit. Because they were basically. And they even mentioned this. There was nobody there to kind of say, you really shouldn't do that, Like they really went for the jugular on TV, like way out there. They try to be really political. They try to be really like...
One of the reasons that Saturday Night Live has been successful is that Lorne Michaels, when he has to put his foot down, they listen. Okay? If he says, we're not doing this, or if he makes the decision, this Elon Musk thing is such a disaster, or will be. But in other words, there are certain people they will never have back on as hosts.
Oh, yeah.
Never. Now, some of these people, they're not going to have them on anyway because they're 80. But, Louise Lasser will never be back on. Chevy Chase will never be back on.
Chevy Chase is likely to be working anywhere.
I think he's seriously ill. I heard he's very, very ill, like with Parkinson's or something.
Wow.
But Chevy Chase,
prayers for his family,
Martin Lawrence, for different reasons. But if he says it, one of the reasons I think that show failed was that the inmates were running the asylum.
Sure.
Exactly.
There was no one there to say, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they were there to try and make each other laugh. They were there to try and make each other laugh, not about the audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw Sweetman in the movie last night.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that I always hated about when I don't know if you ever noticed this. I mean, this isn't true anymore, but for years the last half hour of Saturday Night Live, you could almost hear the white hiss of the tape rolling. Okay. And one of the things I thought, I'm probably alone in this, but one of the things they did, which I thought was horribly unfunny, was any sketch with Tom Davis and Al Franken. They thought they were so funny. They thought they were so hip and so droll. And it, people have been watching this now for an hour.
Yeah.
You got to smack. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's why, their last half hour. Now it's not true now, but their last half hour for years, people turned it off.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think we're funny? We think we're funny,
I've seen, and then, I still, this is kind of weird. I think this last season has been horrible comedy wise.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep watching it because we need it. I mean, we need it.
I watch it because of Kate McKinnon.
Oh, she's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Katie Bryant.
Yeah.
Katie Bryant.
I think the performers are fine. I think the writing is horrendous.
Yeah.
Listen, because I'll tell you why I say that. It's the same writer, it's the same performers they had when you thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
how long has Kate McKinnon been there? A long time.
She's been there 8 or 9 years, hasn't she?
Yeah. She's so goddamn good.
Do you know that the big guy, Bill played Fat Albert. Can't think of his name now.
Bill Cosby.
No, the guy that played Fat Albert in the movie Fat Albert.
Oh, I have no idea.
Help me, Andy.
I don't watch that.
Oh, it's he's the host often on the game whenever they do game show parodies. He plays the host.
He told me the guy in Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Keenan. He just passed. He's in his 18th season. Just passed Tim Meadows. Tim Meadows did 17th season.
Right. They asked him, do you ever think about leaving? And he goes, do you ever think about quitting a high-paying job?
Yeah.
He said, let's sit down. Let me find out a job you have. Plus, they gave him a sitcom.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
And it was renewed.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. It's funny. They did a thing one time on the Larry Sanders Show. When it was a talk show, when he,
right.
And he had Regis Philbin. I'll never forget this. He had Regis Philbin on as a guest, and he was thinking about leaving the show, so he could do other things. And he asked Regis Philbin, and it was a serious moment. It wasn't like they didn't do it for laughs. And he said, do you ever think about quitting the morning show? The show you do with Kathy Lee? He goes, God, no, absolutely not. He goes, Larry, that's my base. That's where from everything else springs.
Yeah.
I do that. And, as seen on, I would never leave it. Oh no, when I leave it, it'll be my decision. But no, that's where everything else comes from. Yeah. So Kenan Thompson is the master of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's got that show. Now he's got this. He does movies. He does commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very smart guy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I think it was Norm Macdonald did one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard on Weekend Update, which reminds me, because of Kenan Thompson, it's a parallel. He said, well, Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, are in New York looking for an apartment to rent for the next 3 months while Will does a movie. They're willing to go as high as $75,000 a month. In a related story, DJ Jazzy Jeff wants to know if you're finished eating that.
Oh, God.
And I think of that guy who was with him on Good Burger or Happy Burger. Right. It was Kenan Thompson and Kenan and Kel.
Yep.
What was it called? Good Burger? Good Burger, says my daughter.
Good Burger, yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But why would you leave if he enjoys it? If he enjoys it and it's still fun for him, and they treat him fine. Come on. I haven't seen Lorne Michaels opening the door for him and saying go this way. So why not?
How much do you think he makes?
That's a great question. I think he makes 6 figures a week.
Oh wow. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, he's a versatile actor too. I mean, he's very versatile for all their stuff. So
keeping him on does You know, keeping him on for Lorne Michaels does also. It shows all the other actors that they could have a career at Saturday Night Live.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you can keep up the laughs.
Well, but those other guys have been there a while too. Kyle Mooney, Beck Bennett, those guys have, Mikey Day, they've been there a while.
Yeah. Tom,
I mean, they haven't been there 18 years.
Pete Davidson. Hey, I think they're all getting better too. I mean,
did you see Davidson's movie?
No, I didn't.
About Staten Island?
Did not see it. Is that the one
it was great.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was, he was at a roast and he said, I saw so-and-so, I forget who was getting roasted, but he said, I saw so-and-so in a movie and about something or other. And he goes, and that's the second saddest thing. That was the sad. And for me personally, that was the saddest thing that ever happened that involved a building coming down. He takes, they joke about his father's death all the time.
Oh, I know.
And he, like, well, in this movie, they go, knock, knock, who's there? Not your father,
Wow.
But he was a kid. He was a baby. It was like 6 or 7 years old, I think.
Yeah.
When his father died.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But Bill Burr plays the guy dating his mother.
Yes.
Who's played by Marissa Tomei. So it's a really good cast.
Yeah, it is. Bill gets some good spots.
Am I wrong to be happy that Ted Nugent got COVID?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think
it's a karma.
Now you're a radio guy.
He said it didn't exist.
Oh yeah.
So he's got the version. He's got the version that doesn't exist. So
yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, there's no vaccine for that one.
Yeah,
he is completely batshit crazy. I mean, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's something you probably know this, Sam, because you're a radio guy. Do you know that until he started doing tours after he started recording albums, he didn't sing for the Ted Nugent Band.
Well, who sang Cat Scratch Fever?
Much like he did not sing that.
Mike Huckabee.
Really?
He was not the singer. Much like Jay Giles was the lead singer for the Jay Giles Band, Ted Nugent was not the lead singer for Ted Nugent Band.
Well, and like on the Elvin Bishop group, it was Mickey Thomas.
Yes.
And Fooled Around and Fell in Love. And Dave Clark wasn't the singer on the Dave Clark 5.
No, he was probably the guy that collected the money and paid everybody.
I got to tell you, that people don't realize that group had like 8 or 9 hits.
Dave Clark?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bits and Pieces, Glad All Over.
I love Glad All Over.
Now That I Can Dance, Because.
Are they in the Hall of Fame?
I don't think so. I can't believe the Go-Go's aren't. I mean that. I cannot believe that. They're the only all-woman group to write, play, and put out a record that hit #1. They're the only one ever. And they're not in the Hall of Fame. It's amazing. You know, well, what's her name? Belinda Carlisle. I don't know if this is, where she and her husband live? Bangkok.
Why?
Because they can.
No, I suppose, but I heard that's not the greatest place to be.
Well, if you're filthy rich, any place is the greatest place to be.
This is true. This is true.
Right here you go, Sam. The guy I know. I looked it up and I Googled it, and I was even surprised by one of these. The guy I knew as Ted Nugent's singer is a guy named Derek St. Holmes.
Don't know.
Nugent, before he did his own band, what they called a solo career, which I don't know if you can call it solo, if you go up and hire a singer. But anyway, he was that leader, sort of the guy that drove it, was more of the lead of this band. And it was called, Shit. Again, I can't remember.
That's a terrible name for a band.
It's the
yeah.
It's been used.
Shit.
Yeah.
What kind of name is that for a band? I thought that was the name of Nomadland.
That's very funny. Oh, God.
God. What was the highlight of the movie? Well, you should see it for yourself.
Amboy Dukes. He was
the Amboy Dukes. Yeah.
He was in the psychedelic rock band in the 60s called Amboy Dukes. That was Ted Nugent's band. And when he broke that up, he started another band called the Ted Nugent Band, and Derek Holmes was the lead singer for most of the recordings. Now, guess who else? There were two others. Guess who else? I'll name the second one because I've never heard of him. Brian Howe. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Brian Howe is probably best known as the guy who replaced Paul Rodgers for lead vocalist of Bad Company.
Wow, you talk about that. Now that's a trivia question for the ages.
You'll never guess the third one. Okay, so now we've got Derek St. Holmes, who is a Detroit band singer that Nugent picked up in '78. Brian Howe, who was with Bad Company until '83 when he went with Nugent. And guess who the third guy was?
Rick Barry.
Oh, God, so close. Meatloaf.
Oh, geez.
Marvin Adaye. Lee Adaye.
Yes. God, I love rock and roll trivia.
It's a great thing about him. He sang at a Trump rally.
Oh, did he?
And he gets very dramatic and
Nugent or Meatloaf?
Huh?
Nugent or Meatloaf?
Meatloaf.
Okay.
Excuse me. And Trump was looking at him like, how long is this going to go on?
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was the only time in my life I ever had empathy for Donald Trump. Because I mean, I'm sure there were claw marks on the wood where they were dragging Meatloaf off. He would not stop singing. I mean, he would hold the note for 20 seconds. It's not your rally.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I would vote for him over Trump, but sure. It's not your rally. And Trump was like, is it over? Can I talk? It was terrible. Do I have a couple of minutes? I could feel up Ivanka. Do I have that much time?
That's a lot of negotiations.
You heard about this guy who used to work for on Celebrity Apprentice, Noel Kassler. He's the one who drops all these little tidbits about Trump's behavior on the show.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I got to tell you, no one more than me would be delighted to know that those things are true. I don't think they are. And I'll tell you why. No one, because it hasn't raised any dust. He can't be the only one who would know these things, like Trump's use of the N-word or Trump's attitude towards women and all that, I saw a thing today in the paper that Trump at that Miss Teenage America, what it was, he would come in there and actually stick his fingers in the girls' mouths to check their teeth.
Oh, good God. Jeez.
Wow. Or grab their butts, things like that.
Yeah.
And, do none of these girls have a lawyer for a father? None of them?
Probably not. But, I wonder how many, first of all, are Trump supporters, and he can do no wrong, and they're afraid of him.
Girls are?
Yeah, and they're afraid of him. He could crush them like a bug
if he fell.
Yeah, well, but it was just would you really want to go up against that and bring up all? Plus, the first thing somebody would say, "There's nothing wrong with putting your finger in a girl's mouth to check their teeth."
Yeah, if there's DDS after your name.
Well, I know, but you know how these Trump people are. Oh
God.
Biden's done worse than that. You can hear him now.
I hung my daughter by her feet because she was late for school.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got one that's close. He won't quite commit to Trump, but I got one kid who the only thing it's done to him is it's gotten him into this cyber currency. Now he's made thousands of dollars on it, but I'm trying to tell him, what have you guys made? What has your company made? What has your company sold? I go, this just sounds like what's his name with the Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Bernie Madoff.
Sounds like Bernie Madoff to me.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure the government's investigating right now, but it's so hard to, all this stuff is secretive, and they try to do everything on the side. And
you know who made a fortune with Bitcoin? A fortune, Ashton Kutcher.
Oh yeah. Did you see that interview with his wife?
I think she's pretty. He's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah.
He really is. He's a pretty smart guy. He's,
you know what? If all the currencies collapse around the world and Bitcoin is the only one left, then they were right. But I cannot see every currency collapsing in order for that one to come out on top.
I can't get involved with a currency that I don't understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, think about this. If the currencies, except for that one, all collapse, is how much money we have going to be our biggest problem? I don't really think
so. Yeah.
No.
I mean, I'm not worried about, I'm worried hold on to your property deeds. That's all I can say. If you got any.
Well, the thing is, that's how Hitler came to power. He came to power because the German economy collapsed. I mean, it cost like 5,000 German marks for a loaf of bread. Okay.
Yeah.
And he scapegoated the Jews. Now, in this case, when Bitcoin fails, they're going to have to do something very unique. They're going to have to scapegoat Gentiles, and so it's going to be this thing where they go, "Yes, we did it. Come get me." So, but if you look at the level of, with some exceptions, Angela Merkel is an exception, and Macron is an exception. But if you look at the level of leadership ability in the West, if I'm Putin, I'm licking my chops. I mean, well, now Biden's there, but when Numbnuts was there, he was probably the happiest guy in all of Eastern Europe.
Yeah, but the thing here's what I would tell Putin. I go, making the United States unstable probably is in your best interest, but making it unstable for good and forever may not be. You know what I mean? In other words, that fault that would happen, that collapse that would happen, is going to bring everybody down.
Well, this is what I think. I agree. And this is what I think is happening. I don't think Biden talks about it because it wouldn't be smart to talk about it, and he's smart.
Yeah.
But I think that they have a plan to cripple Russia, because what people forget is that Russia is not a world power. I mean, a powerful economy.
Exactly.
They've got gas and oil, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. No agriculture. No tech. No tech.
Yeah.
Even the people who are doing, his hacking our stuff, they're from Macedonia. He doesn't have anybody in Moscow who can do that, because you can't type on a laptop with a bottle of vodka in your hand. It's impossible.
Yeah.
These guys
hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Hold my slivovitz.
Yeah.
Hold my Stoli.
But I don't understand that. That's a great title for a play. But I don't understand how the people in Russia. I mean, you talk about people being cowed by Trump. They're cowed by Putin.
Yeah, but that's because Putin kills people who don't cow to him.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so negative, Kathy.
Yeah, so that to the poor. What was the poor guy who was poisoned and then had a hunger strike? And they'd come and cook chicken outside of his cell. They'd barbecue right outside his cell while he was on a hunger strike.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he still alive, or did he pass away?
No, he's alive.
He's still alive.
He's ended his hunger strike. Putin gave in on something.
He ended the strike. Yep.
Speaking of hunger strikes.
Yes.
Not that this is even related to it, but it made me think of Bobby Sands. Remember him from
the Irish kid?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Scotland all want to get out
of
Now Scotland already voted on it
Great
once.
Britain.
Of the United Kingdom.
Out of the United Kingdom. Now,
yeah.
Scotland already voted on it once, but then after Britain voted to get out of the European Union, Scotland said, "Let's run this referendum again for the Scots. You know, for whether we're going to split with."
They want to be in the union. They don't want to be with.
In Northern Ireland, they had all the borders that were between Ireland and Northern Ireland were sort of dismissed. In other words, we don't need them anymore because, we're all part of the European Union. And as soon as British got out, they had to start setting up these, borders that they hadn't had to fortify in 25, 30 years. And so they're talking about joining the Irish if the Irish are willing to join. Irish are already in the European Union. And then Wales is the toughest one. They've only got 34% of their people who want to split, but it's the largest amount they've ever had, and they've never had a referendum before, so they really don't know.
Am I wrong in saying that Ireland, green Ireland, not orange, that Ireland and Britain are the two most prosperous parts of the United Kingdom?
I would say Germany. I would put Germany. Ireland.
No. Of the United Kingdom.
United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Not the common.
Scotland is there for vacation land, and Wales
I'm talking about money. I'm talking about I know the most prosperous in terms of that.
Well, Wales could be, but they have all their resources taken from them by the companies that are not Welsh.
So it's Ireland. And England.
Right.
Ireland is kind of the Silicon Valley of.
It sure is.
Yeah.
They are, and that's why they're prosperous. So if I were them, I would tell Scotland, Wales, and I'd say, all right, take care, bye.
Yeah, you're on your own. Yeah,
take care, be well.
Yeah,
they don't need them. They don't need them.
Nope.
Well, I have to tell you the story of when I was in Ireland and we were going over into Northern Ireland. This was back during the time of the Troubles, and all the borders were fortified. I mean, sandbags,
right?
Army guys with guns, and as we're crossing over the border, waiting to go through the checkpoint, there was a huge sign that said, "Is your car insurance good in Northern Ireland?"
Wow.
Wow.
So the first pub we stopped at, I said, I've got to ask you about that sign. And the guy said, well, we only blow up rental cars. We wouldn't want to blow up cousin Kevin's car,
They're related to the people they're blowing up.
Exactly.
Well, I tell you what, as a Canadian, which I never was because I was born here, but my grandmother's father is full Canadian. My grandmother would be half Canadian. And so there's Canadian heritage. And half the people in Detroit, I'd say probably even more than half, are Canadian. Do you have any Canadian heritage, Kathy?
No, but we had a cottage in Canada for 50 years.
Andy, wow. Do you have any Canadian blood in you?
No, I don't think so.
I joined Canadian Club.
Well, there you go. That's good enough. My uncle used to sell that. So he used to be a rep in Ingham, Massachusetts for Canadian Club.
Oh, I know Hingham.
Wow. Yep.
On the Cape.
Yep, sure is. You can see from the hill where his house was, you could see Nantucket.
That's where That's where Barry Katz's wife's funeral was.
Okay.
Well, they used to prove the Canadian Club, and on a good day when the wind was blowing here in Grosse Pointe, you could smell it.
But I think my grandmother died like a month before the towers went down, so she never had to do what we had to do to get over to Canada. But it would have killed her if she wasn't already dead. It would have killed her because she was. They might have gotten her in. She had a lot of money in Canada. Remember when she died? We had a hard time getting it all out because it was like her father wasn't the only one in that family, and they didn't really keep track of how the money was, and her father took care of it all. And so our family's claim was, well, he kept care of it, and you didn't care about it until he died, so it's our money, So, but anyway, we had a big
Frank Vignola, you know that comedian?
Yeah.
Frank Vignola does a bit. It reminds me of this when we're talking about, secession.
Right.
That Texas wanted to secede.
Let him.
And he goes, please do.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
He says, I'll tell you why. Because this is why. Because when Mexico invades you, okay, call Guatemala for help.
Hey,
we'll We'll see you at the Olympics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you talk about the borders being closed, and they are now for COVID, and you can't go back and forth.
Right.
We have friends with a cottage that they've not been able to get to for, for almost a year and a half now. But they had a boat, and we said, well, why don't you just take your boat across? We're on Lake St. Clair. You can almost see their cottage from here.
Yep.
And they said, no, because if you're caught, they confiscate your boat and they don't give it back.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that would have
killed my grandmother, because there was really no difference in my family between Canadians and Americans. Everybody,
God, no. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially those. Now, that's my mother's side. That was the Brits and the Irish. On my dad's side, we had Native Americans, and there really isn't. They had carte blanche crossing the border. They just had to show their tribal identity.
Thank God you gave them something.
Didn't have to pay the toll for the fare, for the bridge. Didn't have to show their ID. That was it. I'm a member of the tribe, so
yeah.
Did I mention that that was this past Saturday, Cass? That I was in the hospital just this past Saturday?
No. Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me think. I told you guys I was in the hospital, right?
You did.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I lost track of the time. Okay, forget it.
That happens. We're all over 60, except how old are you? Are you over 60 yet, Andy?
I am 60. I got my birthday on April 13th, so I just became 60.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. I got through all the sharp edges and pointed knives,
Yeah, and what's really frightening is I'm almost old enough to be your mother. Oh, geez.
That is so hot. Anyway.
Wow.
Where's the Wawa? Anyway, and I don't mean the place.
I'm still a stud to somebody, There we go.
Mom, you look like your neck needs a massage. Wow, wow, wow. There was a story in the paper about, unless there is some horrible sexual indiscretion, okay, Tucker Carlson will never be fired.
Oh, God.
And let me explain why. Well, you know why, because they're right wing and they love him. But the reason that no matter what he says will get him fired is because, and I didn't know this, all these boycott his advertisers and all that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's not how Fox News makes their money. They make their money off of the people who own the cable companies and pay for the people to see Fox News.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money. I mean, when he lost advertisers, who was Glenn Beck? He lost advertisers. All they had was these people's, gold, buy gold. That's all they had.
Yeah.
So he left on his own, though.
So the pillow guy could actually hump a pillow on the air, and Fox is all good with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's running his own channel, Right Side Broadcasting.
Yeah.
Mike Lindell. And you can catch it on Facebook, and there's some scary stuff on there.
You talk about one taco short of a platter.
Oh, man.
That guy. And by the way, that reminds me, years ago, there was a woman named I can't remember her name now. But she was an activist, and she was upset that the Augusta National Golf Club wouldn't allow women as members.
I remember that.
And they pressured. You probably know this about the Masters. They have very upscale advertisers. It's Cadillac, Hart Schaffner and Marks, Merrill Lynch, Pierce Fenner and Smith. And they got them all.
GoDaddy cannot advertise on the Masters.
Well, for many reasons. but it didn't. You know what the people at Augusta did? They said they can go. We'll pay for the ads.
Yeah.
Because the people in that club are filthy rich.
Yep.
They're billionaires. So they said, no, that's okay. We'll cover the cost.
Wow.
So and they said, and we'll do it every year. We don't give a shit. So if that's true, and it was, it's almost like the Tucker Carlson thing. I mean, I can't imagine if he said something like, I hope Joe Biden gets assassinated, something like that.
Yeah.
That might, but beyond that, the only thing that got O'Reilly fired and the only thing that got Ailes fired, and he was he was Fox News, was sexual indiscretion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nothing else.
So,
and Ailes was a pig.
So which one of us is going to hit on Tucker Carlson? Who's going down for the team?
Not me. It's got to be a gay thing.
Oh, I see.
Oh, not just gay. I think I'd have to trans too. I mean, gay is not.
Oh, okay.
Did you see?
Count me out on this one.
Did you see Caitlyn Jenner said transgender women shouldn't play women's sports?
You believe that?
I mean, just last week she said they. Just last week she said they should, or last month. I mean.
No, he said no. I keep calling him he because he's still got a penis, but still got a penis. Oh, penis. But he's
I'm your penis.
Like the Avalon for the first. But listen, I knew there was something wrong with him. The 2 times I watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians, he sat there like he had been drugged. Okay, and all these other things are going around, and hi, is everybody okay? So he kind of gave up the ghost a long time ago.
All right, real quick, as long as we're on Fox News, Laura Ingraham.
Oh,
she accused a CNN reporter of using his black voice only when he's on television. He doesn't normally use that black voice, and of course, I brought it up because I thought I had a cute line. I said, "And yet, her dark roots go unchecked."
I thought that was very funny. I thought that was hysterical. By the way, she's got 3 kids, and all of them are third world kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Was she a foreign correspondent or something?
No.
If by foreign you mean New York, no. I've seen her at the at this radio conference I used to go to when I was big. No, but I when I went to this radio, and they would ask her to be a guest speaker. I'm going to tell you something. Being a liberal at a talk radio conference, they are, and I'm not kidding when I say this, they are unfailingly polite to me.
Yeah, they want somebody from the left.
They like me. They hate what I think.
Yeah,
but they like me. And so she got up to speak. There was a woman who owned a radio syndication for older people. And she got up to speak, and it was so vile that her syndicator walked out.
Wow.
But didn't stop him from syndicating her.
Yeah.
He walked by me and he went, I don't want to hear this shit, Yeah, I don't want to hear this shit. I can't.
One of the podcasts I've discovered during COVID. There's 3 that I really watch and really like, and they're totally unrelated to each other. One is called College Students Getting Drunk and Listening to Music for the First Time. And what they do is the older people, my age, the 60-year-olds, throw in music they probably never heard of before, and then they listen to it while they're drinking their cocktails. And it's just fun watching their reaction. It's like what they call a reaction video.
Oh, I interviewed for a job as a waiter at the Tribeca Grill, which is co-owned by Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Well, he owns Nobu.
Oh.
He owns all the Nobus. Yeah. And very soon his ex-wife will own a quarter of them. But she a bitch. Oh my God. Oh, what a horrible human being. Woo-hoo. Man. Something? That's one of those people. It's worth whatever money he has to pay her to get her out of his life.
Yeah.
Wow. Terrible.
Well, what took him so long?
Huh?
What took him so long?
Something in his life. Let me ask you, how often do you think he's actually around her?
That's true. Yeah.
He's on location,
Yeah.
And for all we know, he has someone on the side. I'd have someone on both sides of me if I was married to her. Outside, inside, far side, any side. But he So I interviewed, and
that's why my wife's with me all the time. Eventually, somebody will say, are you the side chick?" And she's all complimented. Thank you.
The side chick, and so I'm the psycho chick. I'm
yeah,
and so, this place, it's like what they call comfortable upscale. They have 2,000 bottles of wine.
Wow.
A sommelier. They have bottles of wine that go from $30 to $5,000.
Wow.
And so I interviewed with the owner, Drew Pierpont, nice guy. I interviewed with the manager. I interviewed with the assistant manager. And so I came home and Barbara said, "How did it go?" And I said, "Well, I interviewed with the manager and the assistant manager and the manager." And she said, "Well, that's a good sign because, if they didn't want you, they would have just stopped at, one of the three."
Yeah.
And she said, "So you think you're going to get the job?" I went, "No, no." And she said, "Why?" I said, "My appalling lack of knowledge about wine." Okay, I can open a bottle of wine good as anybody on the planet, but if they ask me, can you recommend a good Riesling? I go, yeah. Well, the Riesling brothers, the Circus is wonderful, and
yeah, there you go.
Oh, by the way, I know we're running a little late. I got to tell you this joke. I have to, please.
All right.
All right. So one day there are these two horses, right? And they're on a farm. And one of the horses, the white horse, says to the black horse, "I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I want to get out of here. I got a chance to be in the world of entertainment, and I'm going to do it." So the black horse wishes him all the best, and the white horse leaves. About 2 years later, the white horse is walking down the street, and he sees the black horse is walking down the street, and he sees the white horse, and he's attached to a handsome cab. And he's got shit on his heels and his hooves, and he's got a little straw hat on, and there's flies all around him, and he looks miserable. And he says, "Whitey, what happened to you? You had big hopes, big dreams. What happened?" He goes, "John Yoder."
Oh, God.
Now, when I tell that joke for people from New York, it's Barry Katz.
There you go.
Okay. I did that for you guys, but it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
I love that joke.
Out in the Pacific Northwest, it could be David Tribble,
Oh my God. Well, there are guys in Philadelphia who should be arrested for the way they book comedy. Wow. They're so bad, horrible. What Clay Heery said, he went to Oklahoma City and he saw a show where it was spotlessly clean and little kids could come in. He said, "I'm going to build a club like that here in Philadelphia." I said, "You won't be open. You'll be closed before lunch."
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's not why people go to comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And why is your child out at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah. Exactly.
And who's that man waving his penis in your daughter's face? These are the questions. These are the questions that I want to know the answer to.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Johnny B's in Provo?
I say, well.
Did you ever play Johnny B's in Provo, Utah?
Say again?
Did you ever play Johnny B's in Provo, Utah?
I did, and fortunately for me, it's all a blur now.
I like it. I played there. I headlined there 3 times, so they liked me. Wow. I had the type of act where I really had to, if they wanted it spicy, I had to throw things in there. I did jokes about trying to. I did jokes about trying to make it dirty by telling jokes to my mom. So that was the.
Wow.
And that always got big laughs because I go, if my mom is offended by this, it's in the show.
You got more booze than Mitt Romney did in Utah this weekend.
How pathetic are those people?
I know, isn't that awful? Jeez.
If when you see these things happening, if you're African American, it really gives you a sense that, maybe they're not the master race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they're not what they're cracked up to be.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised the beating that Liz Cheney is taking. We haven't heard from Dick. I would have thought he would have said something by now.
I think he has completely dropped out of all things.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm wondering if he's even coherent. The fact that we haven't heard from him.
How old is he? George W. Bush is your age.
Yeah, he's 74, right?
He's your age too, Sam.
Yeah. So that means
he will be soon.
So Cheney's got to be in his 80s by now.
I would think so.
So he
was older than George.
He sure was.
Siri, how old is Dick Cheney?
How old is he?
Cheney is 80 years old.
80.
The luckiest man in the world is Rumsfeld, the most incompetent Secretary of State. And here's the thing that's amazing. Donald Rumsfeld was the only member of the George W. Bush administration to serve in active military. When did he serve in active military? 1954 to 57. The only time in the history of this country since he was alive there wasn't a war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Korea had ended. Vietnam had not started.
Yep.
And he was a horrible.
Oh, he's a horrible human being.
Well, yeah, and I hate guys who act tough, like they think it's cool, to be tough. When Scott Glenn played him in W, he didn't play him dumb enough. Cheney loved him, though. Cheney adored him.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Yeah. But I'm just surprised we haven't heard from Dick. We'll see what happens.
5 draft deferments, Dick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we covered everything tonight.
I think we have.
Except the Kentucky Derby, but who cares about that?
Kentucky Derby.
Seventh victory for that trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got a few blots on his past. But
you know something? You see a guy with a hypodermic the length of your femur next to a horse, and you think something bad is happening. You're so negative.
Oh, I know.
Well, I guess the one that I was happy to lose was the guy that the prince from Arab.
Exactly. The sheikh.
Daughter in
Yeah. We don't know really where the daughter is, do we? No.
Still don't know.
That's right.
No.
Yeah.
Well, she's a woman, so they don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that horse is not going to win the Triple Crown, so.
It amazes me. The United States. They talk to the Saudi Arabia. That country is in the 13th century.
Yeah.
They're masturbating over the fact that women can drive. I mean, God Almighty. Oh, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so great.
Yeah.
Stop. They're literally in the 13th century.
Well, and they're chopping up bodies of their opponents in embassies.
Did you ever see the film? Did you ever see the film where Tom Hanks plays an IT company executive over in Saudi Arabia?
No.
It's called. Look it up. I think we saw it on. Either Netflix or Hulu, but it's called.
Was it made for Netflix or is it older?
No, it was made for one of these streaming services.
Okay.
Yeah, it was called Mirage for the King or something like.
I saw Syriana.
Let me see if I can find it.
That was an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this here. All right, ready? Here we go. Tom Hanks, IT executive in Saudi Arabia. The film is called Hologram for the King. And it was on Hologram for the King. And so he gets there, and he's a former executive at Schwinn. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a former executive at Schwinn who just ends up at this company, and I can't find out where it's at. Anyway, it's on one of those streaming services. I may have even watched it on YouTube. I don't know. But it was kind of funny about how the culture clashes between what he could and couldn't do in Saudi Arabia. Like he asked for a beer his first night. He's like, "Sir, we don't drink alcoholic beverages in Saudi Arabia." And the next night he's there, somebody goes, "Can I get you a drink?" He goes, "I thought you didn't drink." He goes, "Ah." He goes, "Here you can."
That's like Utah.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are some places in Utah, you ask for a cup of coffee, you might as well have asked for a hand job. I mean, they look at you like you're out of your mind. In fact, you have a better chance of getting the hand job.
Yeah. But then you go, they have
very rough. I think he's in construction.
They have liquor stores there, and so like on Christmas, I was there one time for Christmas or it was New Year's Eve. So
in Utah. So basically, in order to get, there was a family from Wisconsin who was down there, and they're having like a dinner in this restaurant, and it's the only way it could actually be served alcohol is if you're in like this almost liquor store. It's like this things there, okay? So on one side of the room are people who normally have stuff, but on the other side of the room are the drop dead, end of the line drunks who are just waiting for alcohol. They smell like urine. We're just waiting. So it's like the Wisconsin people are just kind of going, "What the hell is going on here?" It was the most hysterical thing I ever saw. Is like these guys are, hey. There's nothing funnier than a drop dead drunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your reason for divorcing him? His breath. Jesus. My ex-wife, who has passed away, but her father owned a bar, and I mean serious alcoholics. I mean, there was one guy, 42 years old, still lived with his mom. Okay, so the story goes that he comes home, he's smashed, right, and he comes in, and his mother yells down, "Drunk again, Bill?" He goes, "Me too, Ma." and I actually saw this. He was in my father-in-law's bar, and there was some game show on, and the category is words that begin with K. Okay, so the woman goes, let me see, knight, like a knight in shining armor, right. Kale, king, and she goes, and Bill goes, canoe, you thick bitch. And no one looked over at him to correct him.
So I hadn't thought of that one.
So I asked my father-in-law, I said, why didn't anyone tell? She goes, because you'll be in the conversation until you're ready to die. You can't talk to him. Okay. Yeah. He said the guy has a refrigerator, not a little fridge, a refrigerator of beer next to his bed, so he doesn't have to get up to grab one.
Wow.
And I said, does he ever piss his bed? He goes, gee, Sam, what do you think?
Well, comedy fans, you spent another hour and 15 minutes with us here on the off night, and we went along again, but we always do. It's basically we're the David Siskin show of stand-up comedy in 2021.
We're hip yet friendly.
Exactly. We're gonna end the broadcast now. Now, if you ever want to join us, we do continue on outside of the live broadcast. But
that's when we badmouth each other. So that's right.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
so
we'll talk about it whether you're here or not.
That's
right. We'll see you guys later, and I'll let the rest of you know.